We've switched chairs again. Now, Cindy's up higher. We're going to talk about a topic that by now you know I consider extremely important, and I bring it up as a favor to you. Because why would anybody want to know about drinking water and water, any kind of water that comes into your mouth? Why would they want to know about that when they're traveling? What have you found? What kind of great reasons have you found?
Well, if you're not careful with what kind of water you drink, in America you can get water out of the faucet, but when you're abroad, if you get water out of the faucet, it can make you sick. So if you're not careful about your water, you can get very, very sick, and we have been very sick at times.
Like how sick? Because when you're talking with kids, just like when we were growing up, you think, I'll live forever. And if I get sick, hey, it's no big deal. I mean, I'll get better. It'll never harm me. But actually lots of kids get sick because of carelessness or because they just don't know and they don't get over it. But aside from that, the point is, you see, we're trying to keep you a smart world traveler. That's what I tell them.
If you put your toothbrush under the water and put your toothpaste on and then put that in your mouth, that is enough water to make you sick.
Nice clean viruses and bugs, though. They're just out there to get you.
They are. So
how sick could a guy like Tim get when he's not careful?
Tim, probably between the two of us, have gotten sicker than I have. And Tim, and the reason for that is somehow, and we're very careful, but somehow Tim picked up a parasite. And the parasite slowly sapped Tim's energy. So he couldn't get up in the morning. He couldn't ride his bike. He was so tired. He didn't want to do anything. And he was like, I'm just feeling old. Well, it turns out that he had a parasite that was basically taking all the nutrition from his food that he was eating, and he was getting none. And it took us a long time to figure out what was wrong with him. But it had taken so much of his nutrition that his hair color changed.
And did your hair used to be red?
No, I think it was whiter. Bacteria can also cause you to have a lot of diarrhea. And they can make you throw up and have diarrhea where you're sick in bed. But it's not like the flu where you get over it. This is you're sick until you see a doctor and get some medicine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you've had that happen, but you were being careful.
We're very careful, but because we're in these countries for so many years, that sooner or later that catches up with you. If you traveled to another country for a month or 3 months, I think you could not get sick. But
if you were careful enough and maybe lucky, right?
If you were careful, and I don't know how much luck has to do with it, it's just being careful. But if you're there for years, sooner or later you're going to have sickness problems.
And you took off on your bikes to Latin America, which would be a whole lot of countries, right? How many of those countries? Well, did you go to any of the islands in the Caribbean?
No, we went to Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina.
El Salvador?
No.
Belize?
No. That's the thing about a bike is you cannot go just anywhere because it takes a long time to get somewhere on the bike. But where you go, you see in great detail.
How sick did your wife get?
I got pretty sick too. I've been laid out with Giardia. Tim had it as well, but
those are little worms that get in your belly.
Little parasites that get that are in the water, highly contagious. And I was so sick. We were sick for 10 days.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
We could not move for 10 days.
I remember coming back after interpreting down on a medical mission in South America, Brazil, Portuguese. I was sick for 8 days. That was just too long to be sick. You know, I go down there thinking I'm going to have a good time, not a vacation. Those interpreters don't have vacations like that. And I'm in there in the winter. It's 70-some degrees, but for them it was winter. And they're all breathing their germs on me that we don't see except in wintertime here, like in, well, this year, November, but December and February, you know, we get that stuff up here at least in the northern parts of the U.S. And I'm down there, way down there by the equator, and I'm getting all of our wintertime diseases there. And I'm just being around them. Now, you can look at a bottle of water, such as they carry on their bicycles, and if it were a clear jar, you could say, I don't see anything wrong with that, it won't hurt me. Now, that happens. I know that people say, that's not going to hurt me.
Well, water being clear does not mean it's safe at all. What is in the water you can't see. And there's only a few surefire ways to make water that you're unsure of drinkable.
Okay, let's see.
And the first one would be to boil it, either at home or when we travel. We have a stove like this, and we'll have a picture later. But we can boil it, and if you boil water for 3 minutes or so, that'll make it safe to drink. Or we have a filter, a special camping filter that we can pump the water through a ceramic filter. Not just any coffee filter or anything like that. This is a special filter made for camping and traveling that makes the water safe to drink. Because picking the glass up and saying, oh, it's clear and it looks nice or it doesn't smell funny, that means nothing when it comes to water.
But I used to teach high school. I taught high school for years. I taught all the grades for years. And I remember one time we brought in a boy who was 17 or 18. He'd been out drinking, and he got into a terrible wreck. He wrapped his car around a telephone pole, and he had an awful leg injury. And he couldn't come to school for a long time, and when he finally could, I asked him, hey, Jason, would you mind coming up to the front of the class? This was a senior, and talking to us honestly and openly, letting me asking you some hard questions about drinking and driving and what it has cost you. And he says, I'd be willing to do that. So we did it, and still there were kids giggling because they didn't think for them it would matter. And I have seen people do this with water when they're traveling, and it is so stupid. And plus they waste so much money, and then they have to have medicine. And I watched a guy almost die, and I know that lots of people do die.
It's an amoeba, and you lose all your body fluids so fast that you dehydrate, and then your organs shut down. It's just that simple, and it doesn't take that long.
And really what we're talking about is how to have a great time.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys have had good times.
Yeah.
And you recommend adventures.
Yeah, I recommend traveling. It's hard to remember that in America the government inspects our water, so when the water comes out of our faucet, it's clean. It's guaranteed clean. So you don't have any of these problems here. When you go to another country, like Peru, the government doesn't inspect that water. It's probably coming straight out of a creek somewhere, and it's just known that you need to treat that water in some way. You can't just drink the water out of a faucet. You can't even brush your teeth with the water out of the faucet. So
Can they?
No, they can't. They would tend to boil it and things too. They can more than us. They build up more of a resistance to us, but even they will boil their water every day when they drink it.
And that kind of brings up the fact in Peru, I did see this happen. A woman did get sick from probably drinking water. And what did she do? She went to the pharmacy to get an antibiotic to kill the bacteria that was causing her illness. She didn't have enough money to buy the complete dose of the antibiotic you need.
So it came back.
So she bought 2 or 3 pills of amoxicillin to kill the bacteria. It made her feel better for a couple days, and she thought it was gone. So this is how, worldwide, bacteria develop resistance to our antibiotics that we have developed, is because people don't take the full dose. It doesn't kill the bacteria.
And they come back stronger.
So whenever you get sick and you go to the doctor, do exactly what he or she says to do. If they say take these pills over 5 days, then do exactly that, because they know what they're talking about. And if you don't take all of them and you think you feel better and you don't need to take the rest, it doesn't work that way. You need to take every single one as they said.
When I was about 35, a doctor told me, take these pills, I think he said 4 times a day, and take them for 30 days. And then he said this, take them 4 times a day and take them for 30 days. And even though he said it twice, I thought, well, I'm no dummy. I'll just take them as long as I feel like I need them. For probably 7 years, I was in pain after that because I took them for 2 weeks and I said, I'm feeling pretty good.